Hello, and thank you for attending our Comcast Client Solution presentation. My name is Mike Bazinet, and I will be presenting our solution on behalf. When we received the Client Solution project, to us it wasn't just focusing on location. We saw some challenges that we wanted to address. The first challenge we felt was talent. Not just talent in order to do the job, but having a talent pool of candidates to actually do the job. Making sure that talent pool was robust enough to continue sustained operations. We also wanted to focus on cost efficiencies, and here we focused on wage costs. We believe wage cost was playing a critical role in the decision of choosing a location for Comcast to move their operations forward. Based off our challenges of talent, cost efficiencies, and risk of opening a business, we would come to our locations. The original locations we chose were vast, and because of that, we needed to create a process that would pare down those original selections to our final solution that you'll see at the end of the presentation. In our next slide, you'll see the process we developed. Our evaluation process was fourfold: review, evaluate, eliminate, and select. In our next slide, we'll begin with review. As we reviewed the current selection criteria that Comcast has in play, we realized it has been very successful. Reinventing the wheel to us did not make sense, and we wanted to make sure that we continue to use this data as we progress forward, or this criteria as we progress forward. But at the same time, we wanted to create a different data set for two reasons. One, to just help us come up with our own data set to look at the centers and locations that we chose, but also in hopes of having data that is going to be useful and be able to be combined with the current selection criteria in order to make a more robust selection process in the future. But when we reviewed, we saw that there are top 4 countries here: Romania, Costa Rica, USA, and Canada. We took the top 4 out of this selection criteria and placed them into our data sets to see how they would rank. And they came in as a top 4 in our ranking also, which told us that our selection criteria and our data was very closely aligned with what Comcast was already using. It told us that countries that came in top of ours would more than likely come in top of theirs also if we took and did the reverse order. But it also showed us and proved to us that our data could be married up to make an even better selection process for future use. As we move into our evaluate stage, you'll see the data set and criteria that we chose. The countries that we chose were vast, as they're listed here, from Ethiopia all the way down to Ireland. We gave a world view as we looked. Our data sets are broken into 4 areas. Knockout, which we'll talk about here at the end. Then specific to location. We wanted to make sure that the location of the area was strong. We wanted to make sure that the English proficiency, the urban population growth, and the unemployment rate were in line with what we needed it to be to sustain operations. Then you see specific to job responsibilities. This is where we focused on the people, the actual people doing the job. Was their culture in line with the culture of the call center industry, which can be very demanding and driving? And then we focused on the freedom ranking of those countries and the ease of doing business country ranking of those countries, focusing again on that risk. How hard is it to open up sustainable operations in different countries? But we needed to pare this list down. We couldn't just evaluate all of these and make an easy decision. We needed to come up to a short list. And we used knockouts. And our knockout criteria was wage costs and political unrest. As you can see on this slide, we used the Philippines highlighted in yellow as our baseline. The Philippines came in at $4,000, or just under $4,000 for wage costs. We wanted to make sure that the countries that we chose moving forward were going to come in closely to that area. Not to say anything below were the countries we were going to look at. We were going to look at other countries that were coming in slightly higher too, but we needed to put a cap. And we put a cap of $10,000 there. Any countries below that made the cut, any above were eliminated. Political unrest. Philippines coming in at minus 1.24, slightly higher than what we had hoped. But we were looking for countries that had a better ranking than that. Anything above was eliminated. Anything below made the cut. As we progressed with our knockouts and we move forward, the next slide will show you how we came to our shortlist. The elimination round, 1, based off our knockouts, looks like this. Ethiopia was knocked out not for wage costs, but for their political unrest score, coming in at the highest of all countries. The other 5 countries were eliminated for wage costs. They came in above the $10,000 threshold that we had set. Because of that, our shortlist was created, and we ended up having a shortlist of Senegal, South Africa, Kenya, and Malaysia. At this point, we focused on specific to location. We really wanted to look now and get a little deeper into these 4 locations. The English proficiency rate of the Philippines was 61.84. We were looking for countries that were above that. South Africa made the cut. We looked at literacy rates at a 96.62 for Philippines. We wanted countries to be above that. No country made the cut. There were some that were close, but they did not crest it. Infrastructure, country ranking of a 60. We looked at telephone, internet, transportation, all of that has to do with infrastructure, and the Philippines came in at rank number 60 in the world. We were looking for countries that come below that, and you can see 2 countries did. The unemployment rate of a 2.3, very low. We were looking for an unemployment rate of 5% or higher. Being in the industry of talent acquisition, I can assure you, recruiting in anything under that is very difficult. Above that, it's quite easier. We also looked at urban population growth percentage. We wanted to make sure where we're placing these locations, the area was growing. So we were looking for a 2% growth percentage in those areas. And you can see the countries that made the cut. 42.9% tax rate. We wanted it something similar, something lower. And we were able to do that too and highlight those countries that made the cut here. We moved into people being able to do the job. We looked at the masculinity side of it, the uncertainty avoidance, the long-term orientation. Was their culture in line with this particular industry? Would we be able to sustain operations, have the right people doing the job? That was critical. And then we went into our freedom scores, looking at the freedom of those particular countries and the country ranking, helping us look at that political unrest even a little bit more, looking at the risk involved in opening different locations in different countries. In the next slide, you will see our scoring system. Our scoring system was based off a point system that we allotted to each of these areas. For specific to location, we allotted 5 points per colored block. For specific job responsibilities, we allotted 3 points per colored block. For our freedom score, we allotted 1 point per block. For our ease of doing business was slightly different. For countries that had a ranking between 1 and 25, we allotted 5 points. For countries between 26 and 50, we allotted 2 points. For any country above a 50, they received 0 points. Based off this scoring system, South Africa came in at 32 points, clearly above the rest. Malaysia came in number 2nd with a score of 24. These 2 countries are the 2 countries that we will be moving forward with. We would like to now explain to you why we eliminated the other countries. Round 1 eliminations, we stated earlier, Ethiopia was eliminated for political unrest. The other countries were eliminated for wage costs. The countries that made the cut, Senegal, South Africa, Kenya, and Malaysia. Of those 2 in our second round of elimination, we chose to eliminate Senegal because they scored very low in the job-specific category and their country ranking was rather high. Kenya, it really came down to their country ranking. They had the highest country ranking of all the countries, and their ease of doing business scores were, again, higher than most countries. Based off those 2 reasons, we decided to eliminate them during round 2. Because of that, in the next slide, you will see our selected countries. Our selected locations. Number 1, South Africa. Number 2, Malaysia. We believe both of these locations are viable options to place centers. Their English proficiency rating is high. Their literacy rates are well above what they need to be well in the 90s. Their growth potential in urban areas is above 2%. Their talent pool is strong. They continue to have solid political rankings. The risk associated with opening locations in these areas is in line with where we need it to be and closely aligned to the Philippines. We believe both these areas could help Comcast sustain operations for future use, not just by opening one location, but by opening many. They also boast numerous companies that can help hire through third-party call center individuals. Finding the right fit in those particular countries will be much easier knowing that there are third-party recruitment agencies that can help them do that. Based off this, we strongly urge you to look at South Africa and Malaysia as two possible opportunities to open centers and locations in. Thank you for your time today. We will take questions now.